On day 10, the final day of your 10-day acoustic guitar challenge, we're going to look at the chord caboose. It's been a bit of a train-themed week, and what better way to bring up the rear than to have a caboose, a chord caboose nonetheless. We're going to look at some mini chords in the key of E, some bluesy infused chords that you can use. I'm super pumped to get into the lesson today, but first, I want you to share this live stream. This is the last day of the 10-day challenge, so we want to squeeze every ounce of aha moment, every ounce of small win, every ounce of light bulb moment we possibly can out of it. And of course, if this will help your Guitar Geek friends, share this live stream right now. Click on the video, and then go ahead and click share. It'll bring up a window that says post, and then click post, and voila, you've shared it with your Guitar Geeks, and you will help light bulb moments continue on into the world of the internet. So with all that said, let's go ahead and start the last day of your 10-day challenge. My name is Tony Policastro. I'm part of an underground group of acoustic guitar enthusiasts you've probably never heard of. We're not here to play face-melting guitar solos or judge other guitar players. Our purpose is much greater than that. For us, it's about expanding our quality of life through music and having fun with our guitar, not just mastering it. Getting better at guitar is proof that we do have what it takes to be a guitar player, which means we can build stronger bonds with friends and create lasting musical family traditions. But if you asked a guitar snob or a music academic, they would turn up their nose and say their way is better. Yet this way of seeing the guitar is changing lives every single day. We follow a specific framework and set of values that keeps us focused on what matters most: human connection, constant progress, and fun. It's happening, and we call it living the acoustic life. This is our acoustic life, and these are our stories. All right, welcome to day number 10, your final day of the 10-day challenge. Today is an amazing day. It's amazing for lots of reasons. It's the final day of the 10-day challenge. There is a whole host of brand new Tony's Acoustic Challenge members that we're going to celebrate, and I'm going to share with you some insider info, what you can do now that you're a Tony's Acoustic Challenge member. And of course, another thing that makes today downright amazing, amazing times two, if you will, is Sir Noah Jacob Heckman Jr., the first, over here to my right, actually to my left, sorry. And of course, Levi Quila, the man with the technical plan, also to my left here.
Noah.
Levi.
Gentlemen,
Hi,
happy
guys.
day 10 of the 10-day challenge.
Indeed.
It's so happy, it's so sad, all at the same time.
It is. You know, there's been a lot of emotions throughout this 10-day challenge. We came into it with a roar, if you will,
We sure did.
a la Katy Perry. And there was a little bit of a whimper in the beginning of this week. I mean, I was sick. I was down in the dumps. And then we opened up public enrollment. And I think the more Tony's Acoustic Challenge members that we got, the better I felt.
Yeah.
And right now, the sickness is gone.
And we got
A la
a
Disturbed.
lot of... Actually, there's some reflection here.
Yeah, I think we should. I think we could take a moment.
Because the first thing that happened is that we just completely sold out, I'll bring it up, bunch of tickets to the Acoustic Life Festival.
Which is huge.
That was a long time ago.
That feels like a long time
That was
ago.
like
It was
10
just
days
last
ago.
week.
Yeah. So,
I can't believe that was just last week.
yeah, so that was awesome. And then we enrolled, or we opened up enrollment. And that, do you want to tell them the numbers?
Well, it was at 426.
Yeah, it's like
is that correct?
It's like over 400 new members.
Which is, I mean, wow.
Which reminds me, maybe I should bring up the today.
Yeah, go ahead and bring up your
names.
list,
Yes.
and then I'll kind of give you guys the scoop on what's going to happen today during the lesson. It is day 10 of your 10-day challenge, and as always, as I've mentioned before, the 10-day challenge follows the exact practice framework that is used within Tony's Acoustic Challenge. Mondays, we focus on a warm-up. Tuesdays, a lick. Wednesdays, we learn scale, improvise with that scale. Thursdays, yesterday, we looked at some rhythm guitar, and today, we're going to focus on chords within a certain key. And today, I kind of have some unconventional chords for you. Since we're finger picking, these are going to be kind of 3-note, 3-string chords, all kind of focused around that E blues that we were working on yesterday. And I got to be honest, some of these shapes are new to me. I thought, what can we really do to step it up a notch for this last 10-day challenge? And I figured, well, I'm going to give myself a challenge. So some of these chord shapes are brand new to me, but I'm excited about them because it opened up a kind of a new door for me on the guitar neck. So I'm pretty excited to share that with you. But of course, before we get into the lesson today, we do have some serious celebration celebrating, not celebrationing. We don't want to celebrationize. We want to celebrate.
Oh, I want to celebrationize.
All of the new Tony's Acoustic Challenge members that came in over the last 4 days, I am just amazed at how many people came on board to the Guitar Geek family, and just in seeing, in the forums, people introducing themselves and just kind of the chatter that's going on in there is outstanding. So, Levi, if you would not mind, if you're ready.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. Because there were so many that came in on the last day, let's break this up into some chunks. So let's welcome the people, a bunch of the people who came in, not yesterday, but the day before.
Okay.
The ones that from yesterday's broadcast until So
great.
Here we go. See, starting at about noon. So we have Danielle Stone, Beverly Shepard, Gerald Bishop, Ellen O'Brien. Man, those are easy names so far.
Yeah, you're
Joanne
doing good.
McDonald, Brian Starr, Christian Tops, Alan L., Jeffrey Coffey, David Garber, Wade Story, Billy S., Clinton B., Jeff B., Wayne G., Dennis Bailey, Scott Ham, Eric Reinhardt, Jeffrey Sack, Pete Eby, Jessica, Dennis, Thomas, Kim, Dan, David, Steve, Tim, Bill, Melody V, Dwight S, Madeline, Patrick, Ian C, Greg Moore, Richard, Chris Scott, Alan, William L, Catherine M, William M, Brian A, Penny R, John C, Angela C, Kate D, Court, and let's just stop there because there's so many more, and we'll just
number one.
We'll just kind of jump in and out.
I like that you're using the way that we chunk things down to learn them.
Right.
I like that you're applying that.
Small
to, reading
digestible
names.
chunks.
Yeah, small digestible chunks. Good job, Levi. Good job. Very good job. So let's get started with today's lesson. Today's lesson is called Chord Caboose. Of course, if you want to follow along with the tabs, please do so. There's a comment pinned right beneath the video. Go ahead and click on that link, and it will bring up the tabs so you can follow along. And, of course, you can find that in the course guide as well. And the focus today is on the E7 chord, the A7 chord, and the B7 chord. Okay, now before I actually get into teaching the lesson, here's how it's going to work. I'm going to go ahead and play through these chord shapes so you get an idea of what you're going to be learning. And then I'll go through and show you how to make each and every one, and we'll kind of talk about the finer points of them, if you will. I'll explain it. And then I'll go through these at... I'll use a metronome and go through these at some graduating tempos. Now today, since these chord shapes are new, we're going to start a little bit lower on the metronome. I'm actually going to do 40, 50, and 60 because, again, as I mentioned, these are some kind of unconventional three-string chord shapes that I think you're going to dig, and I think you'll find a really good segue into the blues, the 12-bar blues that we used yesterday. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started with today's challenge. All right, welcome to the Chord Caboose. The train has left the station, the 10-day challenge is rolling down the track, and all we can do now is wave goodbye. But first, let's learn these little mini chord shapes. Here's what we're going to learn today. I'm going to play through it, and then we'll talk about it. So this is the E7 chord shapes that we're going to learn. And then we'll look at the A7 shapes. And then we'll look at some B7 shapes. Okay, as you notice, they're kind of they're all over the place, but just think of this as a menu, if you will. If a blues, like we played yesterday, is calling for an E7 chord, you look to the menu and think, oh, I could use any of those shapes. It would fit the bill. That's exactly how I want you to look at this lesson. Now, one thing to know right off the bat is we're using the same pinching technique that we used to play the 12-bar blues yesterday. Okay, so as far as execution on our finger-picking hand, the thumb, index, and middle finger are all going to fire at the same exact time. And again, we talked about this in some questions and things last lesson. But if you're the type of fingerstyle player that likes to use your ring finger on a certain string, or gosh, even your pinky, if that's you, that's totally fine. You can do that for today's exercise. It's not going to be a deal breaker. There's no one right way. There's a lot of different ways, and just so I want you to adapt to whatever's comfortable for you. As far as the fretting hand, well, fretting hand's kind of got its work cut out for us today. In terms of, not in terms of really physical strenuous shapes, but there's a lot of movement. So let's get started. We're going to look at just the E7 chord right now, not your standard E7. We're going to look at some 3-string versions that'll work with that 12-bar blues we learned yesterday. So we're going to actually start, excuse me, just by fretting the 3rd fret of the B string. Okay, that's it, nothing else. Our thumb on our picking hand is going to be on the low E, index on the B string, and middle finger on the high E. Go ahead and pinch all 3 of those. Pretty cool. That's an E7 chord. Now, it doesn't represent all notes in the chord. However, it hints very strongly at that E7 because of the inclusion of the D note here on the B string. Okay, so that's our E7 chord, one of the shapes we'll learn. So for the next shape, I want you to keep your index finger down and go ahead and fret the 4th fret of the G string. Okay, here's our next shape. All we're changing on our picking hand is the index and middle finger. Thumb is still going to be on the low E, index finger on the G, middle finger on the B. Voila, you have another E7 hinting kind of 3-string chord shape. And that should be familiar to you from yesterday's rhythm exercise and actually the lick that we did on Tuesday. Now, we're going to move to another chord shape that should be familiar to you by this point in time, and that's with your index finger on the 7th fret of the G, ring finger on the 9th fret of the B. And go ahead and keep your thumb on that low E, keep your index on the G, middle on the B on your picking hand, and pluck those. All right. That should be familiar to you from yesterday's rhythm as well, because we kind of teeter-tottered in between that chord shape and that chord shape for the E7. Okay, so now that we're on this shape, now we're right at the beginning of measure 2 on that very first line. Go ahead and lift your index finger and drop your pinky down to the 10th fret of the high E string. And drop your index finger on your picking hand to the B string, middle finger to the high E. Keep the thumb on the low E. That's another E7 shape. And then last but certainly not least, probably the most stretchy of the shapes. And actually, speaking of stretching, I've got some news for brand new Tony's Acoustic Challenge members coming up here. It's going to be pretty cool, and it has a lot to do with finger stretching. The last and final shape in the very last measure on the top line, the pinky is going to shoot to the 15th fret of the B string, index finger the 12th fret of the high E string. Okay, index finger on the picking hand is on the B string, middle finger is on the high E, thumb stays on that low E, and we have yet another E7 chord shape. Okay. So the cool thing about these is you can use these, in that blues sequence, you can even add the slide into them. This is a tough one. So they're very useful shapes with the right style, okay? Are they useful in all situations? No. In fingerstyle applications, they're incredibly useful because we can isolate which strings we're actually hitting. So that's the top line of the tab for you. Now, I've debated on whether or not I should go through just the top line with the metronome or the whole thing with the metronome, and I think I'm just going to do the whole thing with the metronome because this way you'll get one solid section of me going through it at 40, me going through it at 50, me going through it at 60. So with that, let's go ahead and look at the second line, which is going to be our A7 shape. Now, these are going to be starting to get into very unconventional territory. And we're going to start with our index finger, again, fretting, this time, the 2nd fret of the B string. And as far as our picking hand goes, our thumb will move to the A string now. Index finger is going to be on the G, middle finger is going to be on the B. And go ahead and pluck those 3 strings. A7 chord. Not the full A7 chord, but it sounds pretty darn close because it's hinting at an A7 chord. The next shape, we're going to go ahead and take our middle finger, drop it to the 3rd fret of the high E, shift a little bit on our finger picking hand, thumb stays on the A, index finger moves to the B string, middle finger the high E. Go ahead and pluck those 3 strings. Okay. Another A7 chord. Our next shape is a little bit of a stretchy one. Our pinky finger is going to shoot to the 8th fret of the B string, index finger the 5th fret of the high E string. Our thumb stays on the A on our picking hand, index fingers on the B, middle fingers on the high E. Go ahead and pluck those 3 strings. Okay, another hinting at an A7 chord. Our next shape is actually very close by. I want you to take your pinky, move it up to the 9th fret of the G string, lower your ring finger to the 8th fret of the B string. Index finger on the picking hand is going to be on the G, middle finger on the B, thumb stays on that A string. This is another A7 shape. And last but certainly not least, let's go up to the 12th fret again, just because it's fun. You don't want it to get too lonely up there or dusty. Go ahead and take your index finger on the 12th fret of the G string, ring finger on the 14th fret of the B string, and go ahead and hit the A string with your thumb, index finger on the G, middle on the B. And that's another A7 shape, hinting at an A7 shape. And again, the reason I'm using these shapes is because they're very useful in what we did in that rhythm guitar exercise yesterday, meaning that we can still do those slides right into these shapes. So you get an idea of how actually these can be used and actually be musical as well. Are these strummable shapes? Nah, not really. Not really. You get the idea. If you strum all 6 strings, they're not useful. But if you isolate the strings, then of course, that's all you're going to hear. So they will be useful and truly hint at the chord that's intended. Moving to the final line of the tablature, we've got 5 more shapes to discuss here. And these, of all 3 lines we're dealing with here, these are probably the most oddball shapes, but again, very useful in a fingerstyle application. The first shape you should be familiar with because we used it yesterday. Ring finger, 2nd fret of the high E, middle finger, 2nd fret of the G, and with our thumb on the G string, index on the B, middle finger on the high E, we're going to pluck those 3 notes. Okay. So those are the 3 notes we're plucking. And here's what a full B7 chord sounds like. All right. So it definitely hints at that chord. That's the first shape. The next shape, we're going to use our index finger on the 4th fret of the G string, ring finger on the 5th fret of the high E. Finger picking hand's not going to move at all. Thumb still on the G, index on the B, middle on the high E. Go ahead and pluck those 3 strings. Okay, so we have, again, hitting at that B7 chord. Our next shape is a little bit bizarre. Our ring finger is going to shoot up to the 7th fret of the low E string. Index finger drops to the 5th fret of the high E string with our thumb on the low E on our picking hand, index finger on the B, and middle finger on the high E. You're going to pluck those 3 strings. Okay. What's nice about this shape is we actually get that B bass note there. So that's our third shape. Our next shape is this is a difficult transition. This is one that I've had to actually work on a little bit even this morning just to make sure I nailed it. The middle finger is going to go to the 7th fret of the D string, ring finger the 8th fret of the G, and we're going to leave that B string open. So our thumb's going to be on the D string, index on the G, middle finger on the B in terms of what your picking hand's going to play, and then go ahead and pluck those 3 strings. Another version of a B7 chord. Again, are these strummable? not really. It changes the whole tonality. But if you isolate the strings, it absolutely will do its job. And the last and final B7 position chord shape, our ring finger will be at the 12th fret of the A string, middle finger, the 11th fret of the G string. The B string will be open, so our thumb on our picking hand will be on the A, index finger on the G, middle finger on the B, and that is also the B7 chord hint. Okay, so for the B7, we have this shape, 7th fret shape, also another 7th fret shape, and then that final shape. Okay, so some interesting shapes, but again, if used in the right context, you can really have a really cool kind of bluesy infusion. Right, or let's see. This one's a little bit harder to slide, but it's doable. Or kind of see the actual context of these shapes. Now, one of the things that's funny is, and I just realized this a question that you may have is, you play this shape, you think, okay, cool. Then you play this shape, you think, well, wow, those sound pretty much the same. Why would you use one over the other? Well, it's not that one's better than the other. It's just that it depends on where you are in physically on the guitar neck, what you're trying to accomplish. If you're here and you want to move to, the next chord, you can find one that's close to that shape. Or vice versa. If you're here, and let's say an A7 is next, well, then you can just drop into it. It just allows you to position a chord shape where you want it so that it's convenient both in your transition to the chord and your transition from the chord. This is essentially why I'm giving you a couple of different options here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play through these shapes with the metronome, and then we'll go ahead and get to questions. We got some more celebrations to come. I've got some really cool insight into how the new members of Tony's Acoustic Challenge can use this site. But first, let's go ahead and let's grab the metronome and not spill my coffee. So we're going to start this at 40 beats per minute. Each chord is going to get 2 beats. So this first one, there's going to be some slower transitions, okay? And I'm doing that intentionally because these are shapes you're probably not used to. So I wanted to give you the time, and actually wanted to give me the time as well, because as I mentioned in the beginning, some of these shapes are new to me. I just kind of stumbled on them. I thought, hey, this is actually pretty useful. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So let's start it at 40 beats per minute. 2, 3, 4. So each chord's going to get 2 beats. 2, that'd be chord, 2, chord, 2. Okay, so here goes nothing. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the A7 run now. B7. All right, so that was 40 beats per minute. Now let's bump it up 10 beats per minute and go ahead and do it at 50. Here goes nothing. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the A7. B7. was 50 beats per minute. I was going to go cycle again. Now let's bump it up to 60 beats per minute and give that a playthrough. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the A7. Now the B7. There you have it. So some new 3-string chords to your arsenal. Great for fingerstyle blues, especially the rhythm pattern and kind of vibe that we created yesterday. So there you have it. That is your day 10 lesson, the chord caboose. I'd love to get to questions, comments, celebrations, small wins, tack news, whatever you guys want to throw at me. I think I'm ready. Maybe.
All right, let's do it. Well, we don't have any questions today.
Okay.
There are some streaming issues all through Facebook.
Okay.
We will acknowledge that. Nothing we can do about that, so we'll just work on making a really nice replay for people. So,
Sweet.
Yeah.
So what did you want? I'll do another round of congratulating and welcoming people.
Okay.
And then we can kind of go to you for answering the popular question. Here, let me take it off Noah. I'm talking and we're looking at Noah as he's like typing. I'm sorry.
I'm like scratching myself.
Kind of the common questions like, okay, I'm a TAC member. What do I expect?
Now what?
Yeah. Now what? What happens? So ponder that and let me get the next little batch here. So I want to welcome Miguel C, Gary Babcock, Rita Boss, Sridhar B, Stephen Jeffcoat, Pat Ross, Tom Stairs, Clifford C, Ashley R, Susan Y, Rasmus F, John S, Jim H, Karen T. Boy, that's a nice name. That's a good one. And Andreas, Brandon, Ernest S, Jonah B, Ron T, Grace S, Vivian C, Leon Fryer, Rich Hunt, Greg Weiss, Andreas N, William Mason, Tim Norris, Byron Allen. Yeah, I'm blank on that one. Chris Troy, Craig Blatch, Kathy G, Greg E, and Martin M. And then we've got a ton more to name off. So,
Awesome.
Tony, I'm a now TAC member.
Yeah.
What happens?
Well, first
Now
of
what?
all, you get a huge thank you and a welcome to the family because you're officially in.
Yeah.
Your guitar habit, your playing habit is about to get a serious upgrade, and all the while you're going to be having fun. So let me kind of break down what you can expect from a couple different angles. Number one, just in terms of when are you going to hear from us? Well, Monday and Thursday we send out an email just to keep you in the loop. Okay, Monday, I give you a practice overview and shed some light on practice philosophy, some playing tips and tricks. So those are really valuable emails just so you know what you're getting into and kind of get insight into other aspects of playing. Okay, so those are super important. And then Thursday, Noah sends out a community update email. We highlight members' performances, members' birthdays, anything happening within the community that we want you to know about. Noah compiles into a nice little publication, if you will.
Small wins.
And you'll get that in your email.
Don't forget the small wins.
Yeah,
And the small
and
wins. Yeah, for
positivity,
sure. So those are two things to be on the lookout for. Okay, and then the next thing, that's weekly. And then monthly, we actually have a live guitar party. Similar to this vibe, less lesson-oriented, more question and answer oriented. You can ask questions about gear. You can ask questions about the lessons during the month. You can ask questions about, maybe you're changing your strings and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do next? That's kind of your opportunity for us all to interact. Not only do we celebrate the small wins in the Thursday email, there's a whole slew of small wins during the monthly guitar party, as well as giving away a guitar, which is really, really exciting. Each month we give away a guitar to a TAC member who has gone through the rigors and the excitement of practicing every single day. So that's the monthly guitar party. Now, you're brand new to TAC. Where do you go, right? You log in and it's like, okay, got a lot of options here. What exactly is the best route for me? Okay, so I'll just try and make this as simple as I possibly can. First things first, if you're a beginner and you're like, the daily lessons are cool, I can get a little bit, but I'm not feeling confident in how much I'm getting out of the daily lesson, go right to the academy and start in Foundation 1. If you're brand spanking new to the guitar, learn how to tune your guitar first. There's actually a specific course on that. And if you played a little bit and you know some tuning, hit the Blues 101 course. I think you'll find that really fun and kind of a great way to get the momentum going. That'll open up Foundation 2, and then go ahead and continue that path. Once you feel confident in your skills and that they're building, go ahead and revisit that daily exercise and see how it kind of feels for you, right? And then start to glean as much as you can from each of those daily exercises. For those of you who are new TAC members and maybe you've played a while, you're getting back into it, you know a couple things, jump into the daily lessons, okay? There's a really crucial thing that I want you to know about the daily lessons is that you cannot get behind. I just want you to jump in on the current day. Don't worry about catching up. There is no catching up. Don't worry about falling behind. There is no falling behind. There is just a daily lesson for you to enjoy every single day. If you so choose to log in every single day, which I encourage, but I do know that life happens. So let's not even put that expectation out there. I want you to have fun with those daily lessons. Get what you can out of it. Get it kind of helping you, have it help to pull you out of your guitar rut. And for everybody that's brand new to Tony's Acoustic Challenge, this is really important. I want you to introduce yourself on the forum, and I want you to place a marker on the member map, proudly proclaiming your guitar geekiness in your area. And also, it's a way to connect with other members in your area. So it's really simple. I want you to get in there, feel comfortable, make sure to introduce yourself, mark the member map, and then whether you're a beginner or whether you've played for a bit, go ahead and choose either the academy or the daily exercises.
Can I highlight something?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, how can I be ambiguous? We stumbled on a popular guitar forum recently, and quickly
That's ambiguous.
And quickly realized how only about 25% of people online are nice.
It's true. This was actually a topic of major discussion between Levi and I last night.
Yeah, and so what it made us realize is what a really, really special thing we have inside the Tony's Acoustic Challenge membership. That community in there, like, you are protected. Nobody's a snob.
No.
Nobody is intimidating. Everybody is so friendly, welcoming.
Absolutely.
So just do not feel intimidated at all going in and saying hi in the forums. Like, you are in a good spot, and we just got reminded of that recently. It's just,
absolutely.
This is a great place.
And it's cool because usually in the morning, Noah's getting emails and things and checking on the forum, the kind of community stuff, as his title, Community Student Advisor, Master of All Things, suggests.
Thank you.
But he usually will take a second and he'll kind of start reading some random comments, and I'll tell you what, it's a great way to start off the morning because seldom, actually I'll say never, I can say a strong never, there's nothing negative. It's all super supportive. I mean, and you've got players in there of all different backgrounds. Players that have played for a little bit, maybe back in school, life happened, and now all of a sudden they're like, I got to get back into guitar. And that's an intimidating thing. So, I mean, that's courageous for somebody to just dive back in and say, I'm going to do this. A lot of positivity to that. A lot of positivity in helping beginners, and a lot of positivity just overall, which is something that, as Levi noted, I'm kind of being a little redundant here, but when you're exposed to that positivity all the time within Tony's Acoustic Challenge, you start to think that that's how all the forums are. But again, last night, a very quick reminder of like, whoa, there's, as Levi mentioned, there's just some not nice people out there. So the TAC forum is really a special place, and it's hard to just explain it. So I'd encourage all new TAC members to go in there, click around, introduce yourself, and just even if that's a level of, if you're too shy and you're not into that, just go read and see what people are saying.
Very nicely put. Some people in the comments definitely saying, get on the map, because not that getting on the map means that you'll just automatically have to go, meet people in person.
Right.
But it's just nice. People really enjoy knowing that there are other TAC members in their area.
Yeah, for sure. We had, what was that? They were next door neighbors or something like that? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
A TAC member, I forget the names on both sides, and maybe that's okay. But this one woman she was a TAC member, And then she found out that her next door neighbor, like a friend's dad or something like that, was also a TAC member. Like literally, they were talking at a party. So it was kind of a cool moment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
It's
cool.
pretty awesome. So no questions. Still, we're good.
No.
I haven't been watching.
Okay,
A lot
okay.
of people just agreeing, like
Okay.
really agreeing. Lots of hearts.
Awesome.
That it really is.
Stellar. I should thank you guys for the
Special
hearts and the likes
place.
because those. I mean, clearly,
Lots of hearts
that's-
and likes.
That's the recipe for curing all sickness.
Yeah, Levi, the man with the technical plan,
Yeah.
he must have changed something because now I'm seeing all the likes and hearts and stuff like float upwards on the side versus like across the screen.
Really?
Yeah.
He's got
I'm not
vast
saying
powers.
it. I got the across the screen view over here. So,
Oh.
but then again, we've got people over here who some are on mobile, some are on desktop. Just lots of people are just getting completely cut out. But we've been just totally solid over here.
Oh, okay, weird.
So it is kind of a funny thing. But yeah, okay. So the big thing. Here's another thing, Tony, just to kind of fill in the gaps. Next Wednesday at 11 a.m.
Oh, right.
is the
February,
yeah. What? How's that work?
The guitar party?
Yeah,
The
if you're
February
new-
guitar party. So
Yeah.
so at noon on Wednesday,
11.
February. Is it 11?
Isn't it 11?
Sorry, I'm
It's
confused.
11.
It's 11. I'm sorry. Lots of live stuff lately.
Look,
So, what's that? Go ahead.
no, I was
Fill in the gaps. Go ahead, guys.
well, I was
I'll
gonna-
let you guys talk, and then I'll fill in your gaps.
It's okay. It is at 11.
Okay.
What happens is when we do the Awesome Fret Whiz hangouts,
Oh, it
thing-
moves things.
things are shifted a little
Right,
bit. But now
right,
we're back
right.
on normal
Okay.
schedule. So 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time.
Okay. 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time next Wednesday, February 7th, will be a live guitar party. So all the new TAC members will be there. We're going to be hanging out, answering questions. It's really, really super ridiculously fun. I mean, I give away a guitar. There's darts involved. Noah's reading small winds. There's questions, and just overall, it's just an overall blast. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. You got to, even if you just come to actually just watch and just kind of be a spectator, that's fine. But there's some great questions, and a lot of kind of off-the-cuff teaching happens, and it's pretty fun.
So I'll add a couple things.
You throw a dart.
So you will get in all emails that are sent, there'll always be the dates and times of important upcoming stuff at the bottom. So you don't have to worry about writing down this time or finding a link or figuring out how to get to this live hangout. Just watch your inbox. It will be in Tony's Monday email. But Noah will also send you emails ahead of time so that you will have a link to click from the email. Another way is that you'll notice, once you get familiar, you'll see this stuff. But in the TAC community, there is a calendar that has everything TAC in there, so you'll never miss anything. So you'll also find these events in that calendar. So just click on community and you'll go over, and there's a whole calendar section. So don't get overwhelmed. You'll eventually get used to how all this stuff works. But I just wanted you to know there's a calendar, plus you'll get nice reminders and stuff in email. So
For sure.
yeah.
It's hard to forget. There's a lot of touch points. Whether you're in the site or just getting the emails, you'll be kept in the loop for sure.
I'm picking up on a conversation, just the second part of it here, but Carol says she needs a TAC guitar case sticker.
Oh, interesting. You should bring that up, Carol.
We've got some thoughts.
We might talk about that during the monthly party. I don't know. We'll see. See what happens. So
So-
great comment. All right, so well, gosh, we can't take a sneak peek into next week because the 10-day challenge is officially over, and I just want to take a second for all of you who are out there, TAC members, non-TAC members, all of you who have followed the 10-day challenge and have participated, left comments, questions, helped one another, and just overall been a guitar geek with us every single day for the last 10 days. I just really want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Thanks for inviting me into your world, inviting us into your world so that we could hang out, learn guitar, share some guitar ideas, and just overall have fun. Again, congratulations to all the Tony's Acoustic Challenge, all you new members. Thank you so much. I can't wait to meet you guys in the site. And gosh, I just want to again say thank you to everybody. It means a lot, and you guys really truly make this happen. So thank you. For those non-TAC members, we can still hang out. It's just going to be on Acoustic Tuesdays over on YouTube, which airs every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. If you're not hip to that show, please check it out. You can go to acoustictuesdayshow.com. I think you'll really dig it, especially if you like the vibe of this. It's even a little bit more kooky and a little bit more free-spirited, if you will. Spirited is underlined.
And a lot more gear. A lot more gear time.
A lot more gear, absolutely.
And music gear.
For sure.
Yeah.
So from all of us, thank you so much for participating in the 10-day challenge. I can't thank you enough, and have a great, awesome rest of the day. Have a killer weekend, and of course, strum and smile as much as you possibly can. Cheers, guys. My name is Tony Policastro. I'm part of an underground group of acoustic guitar enthusiasts you've probably never heard of. We're not here to play face-melting guitar solos or judge other guitar players. Our purpose is much greater than that. For us, it's about expanding our quality of life through music and having fun with our guitar, not just mastering it. Getting better at guitar is proof that we do have what it takes to be a guitar player, which means we can build stronger bonds with friends and create lasting musical family traditions. But if you asked a guitar snob or a music academic, they would turn up their nose and say their way is better. Yet this way of seeing the guitar is changing lives every single day. We follow a specific framework and set of values that keeps us focused on what matters most: human connection, constant progress, and fun. It's happening, and we call it living the acoustic life. This is our acoustic life, and these are our stories.